Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Saturday. Happy Saturday, January 11th. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to do another rapid fire news update, this time from January 4th to the 10th. And again, it's not a deep dive detail. It's just a high level overview in case you missed it, and you can dive into it more on your own time if you feel free to do so. Also, before we get to it, make sure to smash like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future content. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Shout out to Elon and X. Going to be using this as my platform of choice going forward. Formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. It's the best way for me to get real-time updates out to the community, and never a bad idea to be following on multiple platforms just in case we ever get silenced here on YouTube. So jumping into the news, MJ Biz Daily. Canadian MJ operator Entourage inks deal to go private. And this has to do with the purchasing agreement and pension fund of Central Eastern Canada will acquire all of Entourage's issued and outstanding common shares for 0.005 Canadian dollars per common share. Jumping into other news, Tilray Medical wins tender to supply Luxembourg with medical MJ. So this is great news for the company. They continue to expand and be the preferred choice in terms of MJ producers globally. And I do think that Tilray is an absolute beast. It's a global powerhouse in the making. I think it has easily top 5 MJ company globally when it's all said and done, possibly top 3, and maybe even the number 1 MJ company, hands down. Ianthus announces Justin Vu as CEO. This is another name that is a smaller operator, kind of flies under the radar. I would think that more than likely they're going to get acquired at some point in the future. Also, Cannabis USA announces appointment of Brooks Jorgensen as company's first ever president. So Cannabis USA LLC announced that effective today, January 6, 2025, Mr. Brooks Jorgensen, I think is how you pronounce it, has been appointed as the company's first ever president. And company has now acquired Acreage, Jetty, and Wana. The Cannabis Co. expands a New Jersey footprint with dispensary opening in Mays Landing, and that will be the 3rd dispensary in New Jersey. It began serving medical patients on December 30th, 2024, and adult use sales to follow. Wana Brand CEO predicts more MJ companies will follow into the hemp sector. So if you haven't checked out the website Wanderous, it's actually a great website. They have tons of products on there, and I've actually had a couple of Pow Group members reach out to me, members on YouTube, and Pow Group private members as well, saying that they've tried these products and nothing but great feedback from them. I actually haven't tried them. I'm not in the US, so I can't. They don't ship to Canada, but it would be great for me to try them out one of these times. Hopefully, I'll go on a road trip at some point and I'll be able to try them out. I've actually never tried HD9 products, so hemp-derived products. I would love to try them out and kind of just see the differentiation between, the real thing, real MJ infused, and then hemp infused. I hear it's just a little bit lighter, and overall great feedback from them. Agrify sells cultivation business, and this was mainly to focus on the beverage segment and focusing on the psychoactive component beverages with the Senorita brand. And this was, they acquired, Ben Kovler acquired Agrify. So this is their entry into the beverages segment. They're a little bit late to the party, but beverages is going to be a huge segment going forward. And we got some more additional news with regards to this here coming a little bit later on. But yeah, a name like, Tilray is hugely embedded into the beverage business, and I think has a huge head start. And you're starting to see other companies follow suit, right? Like you're seeing a lot of these US MSOs really start to focus on this category, and this category takes a lot of capex, so capital expenditures and capital, right? So you're going to have to really expand and dip into your cash reserves. And like I said, it's not operational. It's capex, so it's very intensive. And then another option is to go and acquire another company, right? And that, you have to dip into your cash reserves or dilute depending on how that is structured. So a lot of these other companies, I think, there's just going to be some companies that just don't dip their toes into this segment at all, just because it's so capital intensive. So I think, there's going to be a few companies that really run the beverage business. And right now I'm looking at Tilray, Cureleaf, and then Green Thumb as the major players in this sector, and also Wanderous and Wana and Canopy USA in the US market for sure. Also, MJ Moment reports that new evidence shows that the DEA opposes MJ rescheduling. Imagine that. And should be removed from hearings, MJ Group say. And I want to remind everybody it's just under, I think it's 9 days now until the new administration is inaugurated in the U.S. And we're going to see some favorable changes from the top down, from the leadership. We're talking HHS and FDA, with RFK Jr. and then, Pam Bondi and, you got the DOJ and the DEA. We'll see what happens there. But overall, I think a sea change is coming, and we're going to see huge changes. And I think it's going to be more progressive than prohibitionists that we've kind of been used to in the past. So I think a new dawn is coming. We just have to be a little bit more patient. And we'll see what happens here with regards to the rescheduling hearings and whether or not they get removed. But overall, I do think this is a good idea. And, they talked about getting, a medical patient in there to kind of tell their story. I think that's the way we need to go, right? Like we need to actually hear from the horse's mouth and these people that are using this as medicine and how it actually betters their lives, right? Like we can't forget we can't lose sight of the fact that this is medicine, right? This is literally changing people's lives and bettering people's lives that are terminally ill or suffering from any kind of, epilepsy and seizures or, pain and anxiety, etc. And it's a great alternative to opioids, and it's a good alternative from a recreational standpoint to alcohol, which is poison, right? That kills hundreds of thousands of people per year. So more details to come on that. Legalizing medical MJ leads to significant decrease in opioid companies' payments to pain doctors, study shows. So are we starting to put the lines together here, connecting the dots here? It's obviously the incumbents, the big pharma, the big alcohol, big tobacco that's trying to hinder this industry as long as possible. They can't stop it. They're just trying to slow it down so that they can get their dirty paws all over it. Trulieve to open new dispensary in Maricopa, Arizona, as they continue their store rollout nationwide. Also, Ukraine officials give final approval to country's first medical MJ products under new legalization law. In other news, 3 MedMen shops still operational in California, but with different owners. And in Tilray's recent earnings call yesterday, they mentioned that they still own the IP for MedMen, which is going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds, especially as we look toward major reform in the U.S. here under the new administration. Also, CBN and CBG show promise in fighting leukemia, study find. So a study published in the Journal of Molecules highlights the potential of 2 MJ-derived compounds, CBN and CBG, in combating acute myeloid leukemia. So again, more research, more studies showing that this is medicine of the future and shows extreme promise. Judge nixes GTI plans to open medical MJ stores at Circle K's in Florida. So a Florida administrative law judge has upheld a 2022 decision by regulators to reject a plan by multi-state operator Green Thumb Industries to open medical MJ dispensaries near or adjacent to Circle K stores. And there's actually a Circle K just right next to my condo. Obviously, I'm in Canada, but this would be huge if eventually. I think eventually it will happen, right? We'll get products, maybe not all products in convenience stores and gas stores, that type of thing, but I think they'll have a few select ones, and it'll be like behind the counter sort of thing, like with regards to tobacco and whatnot, right? But we still don't have that in Canada yet, and we're over 6 years legal here, so at the federal level. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon here in Canada. So I would expect probably more of the same in the US. It's probably going to be a little while out. Also, this hurt the sector this week. So on January 8th, Amplify ETFs liquidated the Amplify US Alternative Harvest ETF, so MJUS. Another one bites the dust in terms of MJ ETFs. So this hurt the sector. The FUD with regards to the DEA opposing rescheduling hurt the sector. Tilray earnings missed, and the whole sector is just down in the dumps. We had this positive news that came out. DoorDash said that they will now deliver hemp, CBD, and psychoactive component products in response to growing demand to help consumers unwind and recharge. So the demand is there, and from a fundamental standpoint, right, we're seeing, look at GTI's numbers and a lot of these other operators. They're starting to show, real drastic improvements to their balance sheet and their financials and profitability. But right now, the sector just does not trade on fundamentals, right? It does not trade on numbers and earnings and results. It trades on sentiment. It trades on hype and major catalysts and boom and busts. And right now, we're just in a bust cycle. It doesn't matter if you have great numbers, great earnings. So a lot of these companies that have great earnings in the space are down 50% since April, right? So it has nothing to do with fundamentals. And if you're a value investor, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you're in the wrong industry if you're looking at this from a value investing standpoint. Maybe in 5 to 10 years in the blue chip phase, after 5 to 10 years after the U.S. legalizes at the federal level, maybe value investing will become pertinent there to differentiate the winners from the losers and the good companies from the bad companies. But as of right now, there's literally no point on looking at a value investing standpoint, because even if you looked at these numbers and said, this is, look at the trading multiple, right? This is insane. They're the price to earnings or whatever, metric you're looking at, you'd be wrecked, right? There's companies that have great metrics, great value investing principle, kind of numbers, and the stocks are still down 50%, right? Doesn't matter if you're in this industry, you're being plagued by the weakness and the boom and bust cycles. And right now we're in a bust cycle. So it's just a matter of time before we enter a new boom cycle. We just have to be patient. Also, Nevis Brands, who I've interviewed their CEO, John Keeber, multiple times on the channel, they expanded their major MJ beverage sales to new states in the U.S. So they announced that they completed production of its major MJ shots in New Jersey, Oklahoma, marking its entry into these markets. So love to see it. I'll have to have John back on the channel as well at some point for a follow-up. Also, Green Thumb Industries announced first of its kind partnership with iconic Chicago music venue, the Salt Shed, introducing retail store Rise at Salt Shed and Rhythm Brand activations. And they're going to be offering HD9 products. So this is great to see. We know that in Canada, here in Edmonton, Alberta, there's a restaurant called CBN. So they're infusing MJ into their restaurants. So that's cool to see. It's more of like an educational thing, though. And then there was also the Outdoor Comedy Festival, Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, that had Kevin Hart at it in the summertime of last year. And they had Plant Life there. So you could go and you could buy MJ products directly at the Outdoor Comedy Festival. This was the first of its kind in Canada as well. So we're going to see this across the US, across Canada, across the globe, where you're going to go to an event, you're going to go to a venue, a concert, a sporting event, right? You're going to go to an NHL game, an NFL game, an NBA game, and you're going to be able to buy MJ infused beverages, hemp infused, whether it be, eventually once federally permissible, full-blown MJ beverages, but hemp will get us there, right? That'll be the stopgap. And this is going to be a huge, huge segment. I truly believe that this is very much underrated, and beverages are going to be absolutely massive. But again, not every producer is going to be able to play in this arena because, pun intended, because it's just so capital intensive to get into it. So either you're going to build out your own capacity and manufacturing facilities to produce your own beverages, which is very costly, right? Or you're going to buy another company that already has that kind of operation active, right? So we'll see what happens here. But like I said, the real winners in the space are going to be Tilray, Curaleaf, probably Canopy, and Green Thumb from my observations so far. So Tilray reported their Q2 2025 financial results. This was yesterday. I posted multiple videos on this. I live streamed the conference call with the community, and it was fantastic. Had a blast. Always enjoy doing those. Then I did an earnings review, and then there was an interview with BNN, and I posted that interview as well. So if you haven't seen those, you can check it out. But they did have improvements to their gross profit, their gross margin. Overall, they saw decent growth. There was some good and some bad, but overall, they didn't really mention anything too crazy. They had the Project 420, a $25 million synergy plan for Tilray beverage business. And overall, they missed in terms of EPS and revenue. So if you haven't seen my video on the earnings review, you can check that out if you feel free to do so. And overall, not a huge change. We didn't see much from the HD9 beverages. They said in the AMA with Carl Merton that the CFO would probably be a Q3 thing. So we should see that some further insight and progress into the numbers for HD9 beverages in Q3 and even into Q4. So they said they're going to be focusing on that as well. But going down it there, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. Let me know what you think of this news in the comments section below, and we'll continue the conversation there. Once again, happy Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one.